Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to another episode of the Fenixx Files. Don't know how long I'm going to channel in this video, but I felt the need to make this live video. Whether you catch this live or whether you catch it just the recording afterwards, thank you for tuning in. Um, I do have some music playing in the background, which is actually the hertz frequency of 417, which is about eliminating negativity. And I felt the need to put this on because I wanted to make sure I protected this and guarded this space. And I also even have, my protection right here. So, with this black tourmaline, yeah. So, I went and watched this new movie today, right? The Incredibles. I've had this shirt for a while. I had it well before they even announced the second movie, right? I didn't like before they announced it to the public, anyways. So I went into this movie with really no expectations. In fact, this was probably the first time in a while where I literally was just happy and excited and kind of jubilant to see this movie. Hi, Leo. And I went into it with no expectations. Just wanted to enjoy myself. But whenever I go watch a movie, I can't just watch it for the surface level entertainment value of it. There's always something else deeper is going on, especially with Neptune, which just went retrograde, which controls media and all this stuff. I knew that this movie was going to speak to me. I just didn't know exactly how. So I wanted to kind of go into it with no expectations. The theater was packed. And I don't usually like going to the theater when it is packed. It actually gives me a bit of anxiety and stuff. Something I realized. But, I found my little corner. I settled in and, you know, the movie was actually phenomenal. It actually opened up an awareness within me that I felt like I kind of understood it. But now I really began to understand it. And it was interesting because after I came out of the movie, I literally could feel that some of this programming that I've had was really just beginning to just dissipate. And now I'm looking at the world, even at this screen. I'm like, man, that movie dropped so many truth bombs. So many divine truths were in that movie. They're in a lot of those movies, but especially these children movies. Pay attention, I'm telling you, to these children movies. There's a reason why they watch them. Like, pay attention to the media that you watched growing up because there was so much truth in all of that media. In those movies, in those books, in those TV shows. There is so much truth in them. And I felt like the children that, whenever they incarnate, they have their particular movies and stories and stuff like that. These generations, they actually channel to the adults that are here before them. They channel to them from the other side, and even from this side, they tell them what to entertain them with. Because it's actually this entertainment which can simultaneously hold them, but also break them free. So we actually choose these shows. We chose all of these shows that we watched growing up. We chose them. They weren't just provided for us. They weren't just something that someone created and then someone created a TV show or someone created a book. No, we actually chose these stories. And then we chose to come into this 3D sphere to consume this information. That movie was actually really powerful because it spoke on a lot of different things. It spoke on hypnotism. It spoke on screens, projections, and as you can see, the title of this is that we are projections. Perhaps you've heard of this, that we are projections of each other. We're projections of the sun, but I don't think we really understand it. And what I'm starting to realize now is that the Earth itself is almost like a screen. And when the sun projects its light onto the screen, it illuminates it. And when the sun projects its light onto the moon, which I still believe has its own light, but it reflects. And then at nighttime, we're able to see what's otherwise in the dark or what's on a black screen. The phone that I am filming this on is a screen, but we don't really ask ourselves how this all works. We don't really ask ourselves this. How this works, how our computer works, how when we turn on the TV, it goes from a black screen to suddenly the projection of an image, which is just a bunch of electrical pulses coming to some type of synchronization to provide this picture. This is not just restricted to your phone or your TV or your computer. All of this around me is also a projection. So what is real though? Is it the projection or what is behind the projection? I think what we're realizing right now, and a lot of you probably can feel this, is that this world is far more magical than we have been told and taught. But at the same time, it's like those of us who are kind of walking this path are realizing that, you know, what is real? What is real about this reality? You know, I'm telling you, that movie just opened up so much. There was several, and I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch the movie, and maybe even take notes, because, like I said, when I watch a movie, I'm not just watching it for the entertainment value. And there were light moments where I laughed and it was funny and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I still very much so enjoyed myself. I was entertained, but I always go into these moments, into these experiences, open to learning something, open to having my awareness expanded, and it most certainly was. It's funny because you go to the movie theater, you have this big screen. You know, at different points in the movie, I would look back at the projection and I'm like, so how does that beam of light create that image that we see on this screen here, which otherwise would be blank? How does that happen? We have to ask ourselves this question more. And like I said, it does not just apply to your cell phone or your computer or your TV. It applies to you walking outside and you looking at a tree, which is a projection of the sun, and you asking yourself, how is this tree being projected from the sun? How has the sun configured its way to create the image of this tree, which appears real to me? You know, I use the tree especially because, you know, the tree uses photosynthesis. It literally consumes sunlight, and we all actually have this ability. We all actually have the ability to convert sunlight into food. And in fact, we all do this, but the problem is that we live under the assumption that we actually have to physically consume food, but we actually don't. Now, of course, this is all shifting, and I'm going to go ahead and just posit that within the next 50 to 100 years, you're going to start to see more people who are like solaritarians, who consume the sun's energy, and they're able to convert it into energy. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this being we are projections is that if we are projections of the sun, and the earth or whatever space we are in is sort of like this blank screen, right? Then this almost does give us this incredible power. And incredible, in one ways, it can mean that you are non-credible. It's like if someone says that something's incredible, it's like, that's incredible. It's almost like simultaneously they feel like it's not credible. Or it means that the credibility comes from within. So when I say that we are projections, it means that literally everything in your life that you see is a projection. That includes the people that you don't like. That includes the people who you feel are supposedly criminals. That includes the people who you think might be better than you or worse than you. I think this is a time where we need to learn to have compassion for each other. And this is something that I have to learn too. I'm not exempt from this. I'm not exempt from having judged people. I will admit that. I will put myself on blast. I have judged people, but I am doing my best as someone who walks this path to release all judgments, because we are all projections. And this whole holier than thou energy that we're feeling, especially here in the Western world, is actually sickening, because it's actually really, really, really fucking up our compassion for each other. But the interesting thing is that the reason why there's such prevalent holier than thou, ego, projection, I'm better than you on people, that people do it to people that they don't even know, that they've never even met. The reason why this is happening is because simultaneously compassion is on the rise, because simultaneously people are radiating love. And the reason why I know that is because it wouldn't be reflected in the world if there wasn't something of seemingly equal stature to support it. The only reason why we're seeing such revved up, crazy energy is people not being able to get along. It's because simultaneously, people are learning more how to get along. People are learning more how to have compassion for themselves and for other people. We are projections. What we believe is real is not real. Or it's only real for a very, 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 very minute moment in time. What is real is the magic. What is real is that we are all spiritual infinitaires. Not millionaires or billionaires or trillionaires. Infinitaires. But some of us believe that our spiritual bank account is zero, or we've overdrafted. Some people have cut themselves off from that infinitaire flow. Not really cut them off, it's just actually just a mind game, truthfully. It's just a mind game. But I want you to know, and I want to empower you to know that you are a spiritual infinitaire, and that yes, you might be a projection of the sun, of that star, but you are a star too. You are a star. And you projected this particular vessel, this particular expression into this sphere in time and space to fulfill a very particular mission that only you can do, and to bring a light into this world that only you can bring. And sometimes we like to think that it has to be something so big, and so vast, and so grand. Some of the most powerful people, and we all are powerful, we're all infinitely powerful, but some of the most powerfully actualized people are people who only 5 people knew them. And I say that in quotations. They weren't up on the stage. They were janitors in schools. They were bus drivers. They were nannies. They walked your dog every Thursday. Like, some of those people who weren't on the stage, who didn't have $1 million business, who didn't even create a business that's very philanthropic and helps millions of people. Not even trying to say that those people aren't valuable, because they are truthfully, like, infinitely valuable, right? But some of the most powerful people don't really have a perceptive or a perceived big stage within this projection. Their realm is somewhere else. And that's okay. We are all projections. And we all actually have this great capacity and this great superpower, and all of our powers are waking up. That's the other thing this movie talked about, is that, wow, our superhero powers have been driven underground. And there's actually, there was a quote in there, it was like, it says something about like the government or politicians being afraid of things that they don't understand. Something along the lines of that. I'm like, woo, truth. People being afraid of things that they do not understand. But interesting enough, Jack, the baby in the movie, who was discovering his powers, which is also highlighting the fact that the generations that are being born right now are super powerful. Not that we aren't either, those of us who have been here, you know, but the kids that are being incarnated right now, the spirits that are incarnating right now, yeah, they have like 20 different powers that they're going to unlock by the time it's 10. And maybe you only had 1 or 2, or maybe you didn't unlock them until you were in your 30s, 40s, 50s, some of you maybe even your 80s. But that doesn't make you any less valuable than these kids that are being born right now. It's just timing, you know. But Jack wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of his powers. He wasn't afraid of getting hurt. Jack knew. Jack knew. And we all have that capacity. So I just wanted to do that. We are all projections, and the projection is, like I said, it's not just these black screens, you know, it's not just this. We have to start to deconstruct the way that we look at the world, because it's not as defined as we think it is. There are certainly definitions, but even definitions are subject to change. It's called the dilation of our consciousness, the dilation of our awareness. The boundaries becoming larger, you know. And yes, there's an ebb and flow, absolutely, but like the sign that's right here in front of me is believe in the possibilities. The other one over here is hold on to love. And I would say that that's only half correct. You definitely want to believe in the possibilities. And you don't want to so much hold on to love, because you are love. So, and typically when I'm thinking of it, when you try to hold on to something, you're holding on to it because you don't want it to escape you. Love can't escape you, because you are love. You are tethered to love. You are intricately, quantumly woven with the vibration of love. So it's not something you have to hold on to. It's something that you have to radiate. That is it for this message. Thank you, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Y'all have a lovely, blessed moment.